This is Harding Football with Coach Ronnie Huckeba.
I mean, the football is just outside the goal line. If it were any closer, it would be touching the goal line. Parrish to the line of scrimmage. Parrish takes. Parrish now diving. Parrish touchdown, and the Bisons are going to win it. Touchdown, Harding. Quarterback Snake Park Parrish, and the Bisons won it in the fourth overtime, 63-60. And it's over. And the Bisons are going to get out of Durant with a huge victory in overtime.
My word, what a ball game, Billy.
Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Harding Football with Ronnie Huckeba. The Bisons victorious in 4 overtimes on Saturday in Durant, 63-60. It was the longest game in Bison school history, and it was also the most points scored in a game by a Harding football team. But, Coach, I think the thing that you were the most happy about when we walked off the football field was the fact that you scored 3 more points than Southeastern Oklahoma did after the game on Saturday.
Billy, it was a great ending to a long day. And, when I addressed the team afterwards, I talked about a lot of different things. One is obviously we could have put that game away a lot earlier and not caused ourselves so much distress. But on the other hand, I was really proud of the persistence of our guys. That's a foundational character trait that we talk about in our culture all the time, persisting without exception. And they certainly did that. There were a lot of momentum changes in that game. There were a lot of momentum changes in the overtime period. But I just got the feeling from our guys that, hey, Coach, we're going to get this done. And they certainly did that. When
I saw you after the game down on the field, we talked about the offensive line, and I really felt like that was the key to the overtime. They dominated the overtime period.
They played really well all day long, Billy, exceptionally well, especially with the adversity that we had. We lost Eric Mitchell in the third quarter, who's one of the leaders in our offensive line group and one of our best players on our team. And we had guys step up, and they played really well. But I think you also have to talk about Matt Tennyson in the overtime. Matt ran with determination and power and passion, and he played great. He had a great game on Saturday, and we're fortunate that at that B-back position we have several young men that can play. And on Saturday we went with a hot guy, and Matt was certainly that guy.
All right, we have a lot of highlights to get to, so we will start that with first quarter highlights right after this.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Hi, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Whoa, dude. You thinking what I'm thinking? Yo, I'm gonna cut the gap. Yeah. I'm gonna get it. I'm going in.
Integrity. Pass it on.
Save the date.
A message from the Foundation for a Better.
Welcome back to Harding Football with Ronnie Huckeba. We would see the Bison football team on the field getting ready for this big football game on the road on Saturday. And, Coach, as your football team comes out and we look at first quarter highlights, the defense on the field first, and I thought they did a great job to get the offensive football back.
Well, I believe that's Washita. No, I guess it's not. Good job by Matt McCown right there on that stop.
And now here's where Zach Shelley really takes over. What a great job of that blocking out front of him.
Look at the lineman downfield on that one. That's something that we talked about in our meeting last night with our team about how exceptional our effort was at times, and the lineman blocking downfield was just a strong evidence of that.
The defense was very dominant in the first quarter, particularly, and
without a doubt, we got off to a great start. We come back and run the toss play again, and again we have linemen downfield. You know, Zach, as soon as that happened, he came over and said, "Coach, that's on me." You know, he got the ball away from his body just a little bit. And anytime you're in the open field, you expect the defense to, come with a big strip attempt, and it worked for him. This is a trap play to Michael Latu. Great blocking up front. We're really close to breaking that. Come back with the play action pass and get Andrew Dather out there isolated, and he did a great job of coming down with that football. This is a triple option, the quarterback aspect of it, and Park's doing a great job of reading that, and takes the ball in that crease, and we come back and hand the ball to Michael on the zone dive, and it's a great drive for us, and we punch the ball in, and things are looking real good for us right now.
And moving into the second quarter, the Bison so far with a shutout at this point, and really in control of the football game right now.
We really were, and we come back and run the triple again, and we get the ball pitched to Eric Kelly, and he's down the left sideline all the way down to almost the 40-yard line. I think that was a 38-yard run. Come back and hand the ball to Dwayne Carter, and it's great to see Dwayne get in the open field, and he takes the ball in for a touchdown. And that's another example of our depth that we have at B-back.
I don't think Dwayne was touched, was he?
He was not touched, and that's what we like. They come back and throw the wheel route. DeAndre Baines reads it. Great job by him, and we get the ball set up again in their territory. And I guess this is kind of where it was disappointing for us because we were not able to convert. We attempt a short field goal. We have a little problem with the snap and the hold, and we're not able to convert that. Defense is back on the field, and there's Matt McCown again, who's played so good for us over the course of his career. They drop the ball. We get it back. DeAndre again, and we don't convert, and that was an opportunity for us. We felt like to put the football game away, and we were not able to do it. This is very close to the end of the first half in the second quarter, and they convert a long drive that we helped them with it several times, extending the drive with penalties, and instead of being 35-0, which is what we thought the game should have been, we're 21-7 going in at halftime, and I was not happy.
but a 2-touchdown lead there at the half, and something I don't want to get away from that first half. DeAndre Baines with the interception and the fumble recovery. The first time that's happened in a couple of years. Philip Meon did that a couple of years ago against Arkansas Tech.
DeAndre had a very productive day for us. He had 8 tackles. He had a half of a sack. He had 4 passes broken up. He had an interception and a fumble recovery, and that's tremendous productivity for a guy that plays in the secondary. And, my point to the team at halftime was, we got off to a great start. We jumped on 21-0, and then it's almost like we went to sleep, And you can't do that. And as we'll all see as we go through the course of these highlights, it came back to bite us. They rallied in the fourth quarter and extended the game into overtime, and we had to hang on for dear life.
We will look at more highlights in a moment, and it is very difficult to win on the road, and we'll see a lot of that in the second quarter as the Bisons at the half, though, at this point in our show, up 21-7. We'll come back with third quarter highlights right after this.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
We taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, the net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
Welcome back to Harding Football with Ronnie Huckeba. 21-7 is the score at this point of our highlights as we move into the third quarter. And, Coach, your football team would get the football to begin the third quarter. And I know you like to do that, and this football team has made a big statement early in the third quarter a lot of times.
We were not able to do that
Right.
on this particular drive, and that was disappointing. You know, we start off with a pretty good return, and we come back, we're throwing the wheel route. Eric Kelly, who has played fantastic for us, makes a great catch, a good throw by Park, but you know, we ended up not being able to convert on that drive, and they get
Turnover
the ball
on
back.
downs.
Exactly. And you know, again, that's another indication of us allowing them to stay in the ball game. And sure enough, they end up converting that drive, and you know, now we're in a dogfight.
Yeah, 7-point game right now, but I thought your team's answer right here was really important.
It was really good. You know, we kind of started to get a beat on them a little bit of how they were playing us. We're able to make some adjustments to our offensive game plan, and you know, this play was great for us all day long. The toss to Zach. You know, Zach is such a talented young man, and you know, his blocking, in addition to his carrying the ball, is very impressive. Get down to close to the goal line and hand the ball off, and you know, our guys are celebrating because we've got another touchdown, and we've extended that lead now to 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I thought that was very important to answer Southeastern Oklahoma's first points there in the third quarter.
It was a big turning point in the game, I felt like, and I felt like it was going to give us an opportunity. And we come back with this turnover. Great job by our kickoff guys. That's Bernard Placide down there at the bottom of that pile, getting that ball back. We come back and hand the ball to Matt Tennyson. You can see how Matt is running. He was a determined runner on Saturday, as were a bunch of our guys. And we get the ball in the end zone. We're up 35-14 going into the fourth quarter, and we're in great shape. And as we'll see from these highlights, we let slip away from us.
Yeah, turnover coming right here.
Yeah, this is the first of 2 in a row, and we get the ball to Corey, and he's fighting for yardage, but he allows the ball to get away from his body. And when you do that, you know, you're asking for a turnover, because everybody on defense today works on stripping the football. It's just part of defensive fundamentals.
And Southeastern Oklahoma would come back and take advantage of that turnover right here.
They sure would. They get the ball in the end zone, and you know, now it's 35-21 after the extra point attempt. And we get the ball back. We know it's time for a sustained drive, and we're ready to do that. We feel good about it.
Good return coming right here from Corey Bassett after the turnover.
Yeah, Corey had a great day in the return game, except for that fumble. We come back and we give the ball to the fullback to Michael. He gets in the open field. He gets the ball away from him a little bit. We get it stripped, and you know, this is when you can kind of start feeling it turn on us a little bit.
And Ryan Polite, he's a handful, isn't he? The
He
quarterback
is.
for Southeastern.
You know, he's leading the conference in completion percentage, and Frankie Okafor is his roommate, great receiver. And he's got some other receivers, too, that are exceptionally talented.
Now it's a 7-point game, 35-28.
Exactly. We let them get hot, and but we come back with another turnover, which is a great testament to our defense and how fast those guys are playing. We run the counter option, and Park keeps the ball. I think that was a 20-yard plus run. Hand the ball off to Matt, and things are going good for us. That O-line is playing great. This was a heartbreaker right here. You know, we kicked the ball and bounces off the left upright, and that kick probably would have put the game away for us.
Matt McCown, yeah.
Matt McCown, another great job by Matt, who, as I said, is playing so good for us.
And this happened with 12 seconds left in regulation, so not really much time to do anything with it after that.
Right. And 35-35, we're going into overtime. And
getting ready for the overtime. And with the fact that we have an overtime, Coach, we'll have another segment and to look at the overtime because it lasted so long. So we normally do take a break right here or talk about the football game. But with the fact that it went to overtime, we'll have another segment coming up right here. But what was the mindset when it's 35-35? Now you have the opportunity to go and reset it before you go into overtime.
I think one of the biggest things is that our kids, because we played the overtime game against Oklahoma Baptist, had a good feel about it. We've already done it once this year, and it was on the road, and know what to expect, pretty much know how we're going to play the game. We'd like to play defense first if we win the toss. If not, we're going to choose the end of the field to play on. And that is really a test when you get to that point in the football game. It's just a test of your endurance, your will, because there are momentum shifts as you go through overtime. Every one I've ever been involved in, and so you got to be prepared for that. And I thought our kids did a great job.
I wanted to ask you about momentum. What did that mean going into overtime? But really, because Southeastern Oklahoma had the momentum. You only have about a 3-4 minute time period there before you go out for the coin toss and go right at it again. It's not like halftime where you go in and reset 20 minutes and then come back out.
I don't think there's any doubt that momentum is a big part of it, and I don't think there's any doubt that they had it. We were up 35-14 going into the fourth quarter, and we allowed them to tie the ball game. Obviously, momentum is on their sideline, but again, when you go into overtime, it's a new start. If you can get refocused, get your mind right, then you got a chance to win the football game, and I think after a short period of time, our guys were able to do that.
And a lot of excitement coming up in the overtime. 4 overtimes. We're going to get a chance to look at that after this timeout. We'll come back with the overtime in a moment.
Jessica, we need to leave right now. I need to get something. Dance recitals are so boring.
There's a meaning no one knows. Wait until we set
So
free.
what's the empty suitcase for?
The grand prize trophy.
Duh.
Confidence. Pass it on.
I was born to be somebody.
We were drawn here from all 50 states and more than 50 different nations. We are 7,000 students of languages, arts, sciences, and life. As diverse as our origins and as different as our backgrounds are, it's remarkable how much we have in common here in this place of faith, learning, and living. Harding University.
Welcome back to Harding Football with Ronnie Huckeba. Getting set for overtime, and coaches, we head to overtime, second overtime game for the Bison. So you talked about the experience of your football team getting a chance to be in overtime, and you took advantage of that right off the bat.
We did, and this is the first possession, and there's Zach Shelley on the toss, leaving his feet, getting into the end zone, and man, that's exactly the way you want to start it. And our defense came out and played great. There's Trayvon Bigelow with a sack.
They had 2 in this overtime period.
Exactly, and you can see our guys chasing the football, and this was a great job of pursuing for us. We continued to keep leverage on the ball and ended up with a huge lost yardage play. So we're coming up to third down. You can watch Trayvon from the start. Tremendous move. He chases the quarterback down.
Showed his speed right there.
Right, and now it's 4th down and 30 plus. And they're just going to throw the Hail Mary into the end zone, and, we let their guy go get it and take it away from us, and now here we go again.
You talked about Frankie Okafor, and there he was right there.
Right, and he's a good receiver, and the quarterback did a great job of getting the ball to him. We come back, and, this was another really close call for us. We caused a turnover and thought we had an opportunity to get the ball there. We're not able to get it. Throw the ball into the corner of the end zone there, and a great job of throwing and catching on their part. Like I said, we really let their quarterback get hot.
You waste no time, though, to get the thing back tied again.
Yeah, I thought this was a huge statement. We come out, and on the first play, we hand it to Matt, and he goes 25 yards for a touchdown, and we get the extra point in there. We sneak it in there.
Now this is the 3rd overtime period.
Yeah, this was a 3rd and 7. It
Sure
was a huge conversion for us. And, we get the ball back to Matt on the zone dive, and we come back down and do it again, and he is fighting for the end zone, and you can see how determined he is running the football. And this is the 2-point conversion in the 3rd overtime. We run the boot. We tell Park, hey, if you got grass, run it, and he did, takes it in, and that was a great job by our guys. They gash us a little bit here, get the ball into the end zone. Now they're going for 2. And they run the zone read boot and get the ball into the corner of the end zone, and that was a really close one.
Sure was.
This is the 4th overtime, and our guys are battling. We're getting pressure on the quarterback. They decide to attempt the field goal, and he sneaks that one in there. And so now we got the ball back. We know if we take it in the end zone, we're going to win the football game. We'll come back and run the midline option, and Park takes it all the way down to the 5-yard line.
And that was the first play of that last overtime.
And on 4th down, we run the quarterback sneak, get a great surge from all 5 of our offensive linemen, and 63-60.
And a huge celebration, Coach. And I told you after the game, I don't think I've been that excited after a quarterback sneak in my life to
Right.
see your football team win on Saturday. And how important, going back to that last overtime, that 4th overtime quarter, the 4th overtime period, how important was that 3rd down stop that forced Southeastern Oklahoma to have to kick the field goal?
It was huge because we forced them to make a decision, and they chose to go with the field goal, which is probably the right call. And but it put us in a position to where if we could continue to do what we had done in the overtime, which was do a great job of moving the football and score a touchdown, we knew we were going to win. And you could feel it on the sideline. Our guys were confident we were going to put it in the end zone.
And it was a very important victory for the Bisons because when we look at the conference standings after the 6th week, Coach, now, or after the 7th week, now your football team 5-2. Arkansas Tech lost. Henderson State won. You can see the conference standings. And one note, as far as the Great American Conference, that was the first 4 overtime game in the Great American Conference.
Right. We don't mind making history as long as the good guys win, right? It's amazing when you look at the GAC standings how week to week we got such a different group of teams up at the top of the standings. It's been very volatile. And, every time we get ready to play a football game, I spend some time before the game starts with the opposing head coach. And, everybody is like, man, isn't this a crazy league this year? There's so many teams, not just at the top of the conference, but throughout the conference that are capable of winning the football game on any given Saturday. And that makes it really exciting, but, man, it's hard on the old coach's heart.
So the overtime victory, 4 overtimes for the Bisons and the victory on Saturday. And Coach, it gets us to the opportunity for the question of the week that has something to do with talking about overtime.
Okay.
Hey Coach Huckeba, I'm Sarah Denny from Springfield, Missouri, and my question for you today is, whenever you're preparing for your opponent every week, do you ever factor in overtime? And if so, how do you prepare for that?
That is a good question. We don't discuss overtime every week, but big part of coaching is preparing for situations. And preseason, we always do what we call a dress rehearsal, and we cover a lot of different scenarios. We always talk about overtime and how it's structured, and what you have to do. And most of our kids are followers of college football anyway, and so they watch TV and they know that after the 3rd possession you got to go for 2. And I think it's an exciting addition to college football. Nobody wants to go home with a tie, and so you get an opportunity to play some extra. Now, I will say this as a caveat. Our defensive football players played 121 snaps on Saturday. And for us, that's like playing 2 games almost, because normally we don't play that many plays because of the way we play offense, and we've been pretty good at limiting our opponent's possessions and also getting them off the field. And so you have to factor that in. You have to factor that in when you approach your next week. How are we going to practice? Because instead of playing 1 game, half of our guys just played 2. And so that makes this week very interesting. It doesn't lessen the fact that we have to have a great week of preparation for East Central because they're one of those teams that's 5-2. But you also got to take care of your players because we want to get to game day with energy. We want to get to game day with focus. And that's part of this league that we're in right now where we're playing 11 straight games with no bye. Man, you got to factor that in your preparation.
Couple of questions for you. Number one, you talked about having to go for 2 in overtime, and I think that's maybe the toughest thing about overtime. Once you get to that third overtime, you have to start going for 2, and I thought that was a great play call, the bootleg with Park Parish.
Well, it was, it gives us 2 options, and of course our quarterbacks in the triple offense scheme that we run, they're runners. They're good with their feet. And so when you run the boot and you got receivers and you got 3-level stretch and you got the quarterback also, that makes it a 4-level stretch. It really puts a lot of pressure on the defense. And, we told Park on the sideline, if you got green grass, run it, and that's what he did. Yeah, he did a great job of making a play for us.
And you mentioned East Central coming to First Security Stadium on Saturday, and they came up with a big win against Arkansas Tech on Saturday, so they're right there in the middle of this thing as well. And oh, by the way, it's homecoming on Saturday.
Right, a quality opponent, and those guys had a crazy game on Saturday too. They didn't play 4 overtimes, but they went down to the wire with Arkansas Tech. Arkansas Tech had the football on East Central's 15, down by 1 point, and ended up throwing an interception, and East Central came away with the victory. And a super hard-fought football game, just like we had. But hey, you don't have time to rest on your laurels. You got to refocus. You got to start preparing for your next opponent. I know they feel that way over there. We certainly feel that way, and we know that there is a really good football team coming to town on Saturday. We should have a great homecoming crowd. It's always a super atmosphere. We'll have the Walker Brothers. This is a special day for us because we invite all the old Bison football alumni to make the Walker Brothers with us. And so we are really looking forward to that. Our old guys coming back and fellowshipping with them and having a great game on Saturday with East Central.
All right, Coach, I always enjoy looking back at the highlights, especially after a win, even in the overtime with 4 overtimes. Congratulations. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Billy.
That's all the time we have for this week's edition of Harding Football with Ronnie Huckeba. We hope you'll be at First Security Stadium on Saturday for homecoming with a game against East Central that begins at 2 p.m. We'll see you next time.
This is Harding Football with Coach Ronnie Huckeba.